Hello there everybody, my name is Chadarak and welcome to a very special vlog that's our very first ever Q&A on the channel. I'm really excited about this because the videos like this are sort of hard to do unless you have a community, and we have a small little community now, and I was really excited to see the amount of questions that actually got posted. I never really thought that people would want to see a Q&A video from me because, I just never thought it would happen. But it was suggested to me, and a couple people seemed to actually jump on it to ask me questions, and it was very inspiring. It was that's just another very cool thing, and I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to ask questions and to really post things that you want to hear me talk about. It's very awesome because when I started this channel, I never dreamt I would have the things that we have already on here, and considering that our size is still very small, to have this core of, the kind of people in the community is just incredible. So before we start, I just want to say thank you guys so much to you guys out there in the community. You guys are a great part of why I do this and why I keep doing it and why I'm continuously inspired to do it, and I just want to say thank you guys so much. It means the world to me. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start. I've got questions from four different people on the channel. I'm gonna start in the order that I saw them come in at. So if I missed any, just in the comments, just say what you wanted to ask, or if you didn't have the chance to ask, then I'll go ahead and just answer anything you want in the comments below. So the first question comes from GLP Fangirl, and she actually asked for a couple of questions, so I'll do them in the order that they're in. So the first question is no, okay, so I'm gonna do it like this. I'm just gonna do all of the questions and then answer them all on my own. So she says, do you like your fan arts? Did you ever travel to Europe? Do you want to travel to Europe? What are your next big series? So obviously the very first question, hands down, yes, I absolutely freaking love them, because again, that's something I never would have dreamt that people would do for me. I never ever thought that would be possible, and that sort of stuff is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely incredible. I've actually been meaning to reach out to the couple of people who have done fan art to see if they would be okay with me using that artwork for the channel and for videos and stuff like that, because I absolutely do love them. They're incredible. I just, not only is it that it's different art styles, but again, I just never would have imagined that sort of stuff would be done for me, and it's super, I can't say the word incredible enough, because it literally blows my mind how awesome it is. I absolutely love it. I adore it. I've gotten a couple of different styles of them, which is really cool. Like I've had, one that was a Papers, Please themed, which was really neat. I had one that was cooking themed, which was cool. And even just the ones of me in general, I love. So everything is really incredible. So yes, I absolutely love my fan art. It's super awesome. I always look forward to seeing what else is coming out on the horizon from you guys. And it's just one of those things that when I wake up and I see that, it's the warmth that I feel from it is incredible, because it's so awesome that you guys take the time to do stuff like that, and I absolutely love it. So yes, I love my fan art. I have traveled to Europe. I've been to Europe 3 different times. The first time I ever went to Europe, I actually went to England, and that was part of like a senior class trip. I was there for a week. The first couple of days were in the city of London, where we did all the touristy type tours and whatnot. My favorite thing in London itself was Westminster Abbey. I found that church to be absolutely gorgeous. The coronation chair was there, and it was a really cool place to be. That was my favorite site. And then after the first couple days of being there, we ended up going to Bath, and we went to Stratford upon Avon. We got to see the whatcha-who's-its, the Stonehenge. So it was a really neat trip. And then the second and third times I went to I went to Ireland, and that was neat because I was actually involved with someone that lived there. So I was, I had gone there twice to go visit, and it was a really beautiful place. The countryside was great. I liked the cities a lot. The culture there it was really neat seeing the culture there because, I don't really travel that much. So like even a small little country like that was mind blowing to me. And unlike when I went to England, I was 17. So now that I am, older, it was great, and I really liked it a lot. So I would like to travel a little bit more though, if I could. Like, I've always wanted to go to Germany. Germany is a really cool place to me. Heritage-wise, I'm actually second-generation German. My grandmother left Germany right before the end of World War II, and she actually still keeps in contact with the village that, I don't know if it was a village or a small town, but that she was from. So that's something I've always wanted to do. And then, there's a couple other places that would be cool to go to. Like, I would absolutely freaking love to go to Japan. I know that's not Europe, but I would also really like to go to Amsterdam. I think that would be neat. I really want to go to Italy. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, I would like to go back as well. So as far as my next big series go, I have a couple of things in mind. Like my next real true big series, because I guess you could argue that The Evil Within is still my big series, because that's been 29 videos deep. And we're just now starting the second of 3 DLCs, so it doesn't have that much longer to go. But as far as the next big series would go, I was going to try to keep it a surprise, but it's going to be Outlast 2. And actually, Outlast 2 was going to be the video that I came back to the channel with, but everyone really wanted to play Papers, Please, and that ended up being a huge success, so I really wanted to just keep going with that. So as far as like a big game goes, it's going to be Outlast 2. I have a couple of other things in line. I started buying some stuff from the Steam sale, so now I have a lot of really big games that I want to play. If I actually go to my Steam account, if it would ever freaking load, I have like a list of games already like lined up. So it's like Outlast 2. I really want to go back and play Inside because I never did get the chance to play it. I'd like to do that on the channel. Little Nightmares is another one. And you guys have had a couple of suggestions in between all of that. So I really do want to try to get to every suggestion and every game based on what I want to play, what you guys want to see on the channel, because it is everyone's channel. So if I can do everything in my power, I will. Someone asked me if I could play Fatal Frame, and I've always wanted to play the Fatal Frame games. I actually never have before. So I don't really know if I'm going to be able to do it because of the fact that the Elgato Gaming HD recorder and I do not get along. So there's one I could get on PS3 if I can find it anywhere, but what I might do instead of playing that is I might play a game called Dreadout, which is a lot like it, where that I can get on Steam and that is not a big deal. So if I can do Fatal Frame, I'm going to try to, but if not, I'm going to play Dreadout. And like I said, my Steam account won't freaking load so I can look at it, but I have a couple of games in mind. But as far as like my next true big series, it's going to be Outlast 2. Outlast 2 is something I really wanted to do. It was the first real like mainstream horror game that I did on the channel to where I felt very successful in my own right of doing it. As far as, and when I say successful, I mean not necessarily people watching it, but me feeling comfortable with recording. It was also the very first game on the channel that I used Photoshop for, and some people think my Photoshop look good, but I'm very hard on myself when it comes to them. So I have come a long way with it. But Outlast 2 is going to be what I want to get into next. And like I said, I have a couple other horror games in mind. That's what I want to do. There's a couple of games coming out later this year that I want to do. Like another big game coming out in August is Hellblade, which I've been looking forward to for a very long time. So that I'll probably do a series on as well. There are things in line, but if I were to say anything, I would say it's Outlast 2. So we'll move on to the next group of questions. And to be honest, I really don't want to answer this question, but I also don't want to be a dick to my fans, so in the community here. So I'm gonna answer it anyway. And it's from, and if I say this wrong, I'm sorry, but S Fantasia plays, or S Fantasia plays, S Fantia. I don't know how to, I'm sorry, but and the question is, what's your opinion on religion? And to be truthful, one of the reasons I didn't want to answer it wasn't out of a disrespect or anything like that. It's more so that I don't have an opinion on one. Like, I myself personally was, raised, under a Christian household, but I really don't have an opinion on religion because, anyone can have whatever religion they want to. I think having faith in some type of thing is important. I mean, even if you don't have a faith in something, like, there's always something that you do look into, I think. At least in my honest opinion. So I really don't want to dig too deep into it because, again, religion to me is one of those things that I don't really think you should dive into. Like, I worked in, I've worked in the food and, like, restaurant service industry for a long time, and that's like another thing. It's like, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics. It's one of those things that I think can get personal, and it's very easy for people to get vulnerable and feel like they could be attacked. And, you look at events that happen all over the world and you see, the kind of atrocities that happen due to people's stance on religion. So I kind of want to keep it at that. And again, I don't mean to be offensive, and I don't mean to, like, not want to answer your question. It's just more so that I think everyone has their own, given right to have whatever religion they want to, whether they think it's right or they think it's wrong or whatever. It's your choice to have whatever faith that you are comfortable with. So that's where I'm going to leave that question. So let's move on to the next question. This is from Dano LOL, and there's a few questions here as well. And I want to do a special thank you to you because you have contributed a lot of that fan art we talked about in the earlier questions. So thank you very much. I absolutely love everything that you do, and I can't wait to see if you have more things coming from me in the future. So thank you so much. Anyway, now let's get to the getting. What brought you to YouTube? How old are you? How did you met Tim? Is your real name Chad? What's your favorite food? And what's your favorite game? So, what brought me to YouTube? I guess I should start more so of where I first saw a Let's Player, because I didn't watch YouTube for a long time. I never really thought of it as something that I would do and things like that, but I do remember the very first video I ever watched, and it was of Jacksepticeye, and he was actually playing Far Cry 4. And he started downloading some of the custom maps and was, doing some of the sandbox stuff. And I remember kind of like watching this being like, who is this guy, And then I ended up watching more content and more videos, and eventually I bled my way into watching some of Markiplier, and, I eventually started watching some of PewDiePie's stuff and, some of Wade's stuff, so on and so forth. And, I always thought they had fun while they were playing, but the videos that really touched my heart were some of the videos that more so that Jack and Mark do, because by the end of the day, they are my two absolute favorite YouTubers. And the first video that ever caught my eye, I forget the name of the game, but there was a fan-made game made for Jack, and it was a really fun game. He had lots of fun playing it. It was funny. It was clever. It had lots of clicks that he does during his videos in the game itself. It was one of those RPG Maker style games, and at the very end of the game, they had the credits room, and in the credits room, there was a bit of a soliloquy, if you will, that was an ode to Jack and how grateful the fans are to him, and how this was just something they wanted to do for him to show how appreciated they are. And it was where I first learned about, I'm going to be answering this question sort of with another question, but it's where I learned about why people watch YouTube and why people have their favorite YouTubers and what they look for in videos, because there are a lot of people out there that do not have it very easy and don't have a lot of positivity in their lives. And this game had Jack to tears, and it actually had me, in tears as well. And I can even feel like the butterflies as I'm explaining this in my stomach. But it was one of those things, and I ended up seeing it happen again with Mark and again with Jack as it happened more and more. But it's one of those things. Not everyone in the world is happy, and not everyone in the world is in a good situation. And it was sort of the point behind this game, is that it was the one thing in their life that really gave them happiness, and it really made them more positive. And like, in a shroud of darkness, the smallest light can open a path to getting out into a plateau of complete light, is how I look at it. Is if someone's down, just stuck in the darkness, all it takes is one simple reach of light to bring someone back. And it was one of those things where, like, certain people that had helped make this game were like that, where they were in abusive relationships or whatever the case might have been. But it was like, by watching their content and being around the communities on these channels at those times, it was something that made them feel happy, and something that brought them happiness into their hearts and really inspired them to be happy. And I thought to myself at that time, this is absolutely mind-numbingly incredible that someone can do this by just doing something as simple as playing video games. And that's when I very first ever had my own thoughts of, I want to do that. It's one thing to talk about YouTube in the sense that, people use it as a job and a career. But it's like, video games have always been a passion of mine. They always have been. They always will be to the day I die. And, the fact that, yes, they have been able to turn careers into, from playing these games. But it's like, if you have the power to take something like this and utilize it into a positive weapon that you can help spread across everyone that comes across your channel and comes into your content, to me, that's absolutely incredible. Like, it really, really is. To be able to make one person smile. If I make a video tomorrow and make one person smile, at the end of the day, I can say I made someone's day. I was able to take someone's day, and the thing about this is, when you guys comment to me, the things I don't know is what you've done that day, or what's happened to you, why you've come to the channel. Like, those are things I don't know. And it's just, I want to do something positive with my channel. I want people to come to the channel and say that they had fun watching the series. And I can tell you, by the end of Papers, Please, it was the first series that I truly was in tears when I finished it, because I had so much joy in making the game. It went past me enjoying the game. It started to become more about the fact that there were so many people that, wanted me to move on ahead with the game and wanted to give me the guidance I needed for the game. And people were enjoying the game and loving what we were all doing, commenting to each other, talking to each other. And it just made me realize, like, that's what it was all about for me in the very beginning. Like, yes, it's fun to play the games and it's fun to upload what I'm doing, but to see people smiling, to see people laughing, to see people crying, like in Emily Is Away, and that's what it was about for me. And that's what I still want it to be about. And I want to do that for as many people as I can, because for as bad as YouTube can get, as far as like some of the politics that happen across people's channels, it is still such it is such an engine of positivity, and it is such a inspiration of love into your fellow comrades and people you don't know yet, that brings me back to it all the time. So when you ask me what brought me to YouTube, I would say it's to make a difference in someone's life. It's to make someone feel that you can come to my channel and just lose yourself in giddy laughter, lose yourself in, emotion. If we're playing, something along the lines like Life is Strange or, Emily is Away, like at no point in time do I want someone to come to the channel and just feel, like they're a burden on the channel. I don't even know how to describe the feelings, but my inspiration for originally making a YouTube channel was to make a difference in people's lives. And what's funny about that is the exact opposite happened, where the more and more I wanted to do that, the more and more that you guys made a difference in my life. And it's a satisfaction that is almost incomparable to anything I've ever felt before, because I was never on a plateau like that. So this question is taking a lot more time than I wanted to, as far as answering like every question went, but it's an important question, and I was really glad to see it get asked, because I sort of had wanted to talk about this for a long time, but again, when I first started the channel, there wasn't a whole lot of people there. So when I have talked about it in the past, there wasn't really anyone to listen, but now it's one of those things where if one person sees my message of positivity, my message of kinship, of love, however you want to call it, that's one more person that's seen it. And that's, if one person tells one person, then that's two people that have seen it. If those two people tell one person, then that's four people that have seen it. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 becomes math that I can't do in my head. But it's just, I don't think I'm funny. I really don't think I'm any of that. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I can just make one person smile and laugh, then I've done what I wanted to do. And I want to continue doing that. And that's the reason that brought me to YouTube, is the fact that I wanted to be able to make a difference in people's lives and make people happy with, like everyone comes with, I feel like, the banner of video games in mind, but then it's really the people and the humanity behind it that I think makes everything worthwhile. So that's gonna be my answer for that. And I almost got a little emotional here on camera myself, but I really just want to make a difference with something that I love, and I want you guys to be able to make it, feel that difference with something that we all love together. So, anywho, let's keep going. We can talk more about that if we want to in the comments after the video is uploaded. How old am I? I am actually 25 years old, and I will be 26 years old in a couple months. My birthday is on September 9th. So I'm super duper excited. It's the easiest birthday in the world to ever remember. The next question is, how did you meet Tim? And the truth about Tim and I, and by Tim, of course, we're talking about Game Tim, for anyone who doesn't know that. In real life, him and I have been best friends since pre-kindergarten. So we met when we were literally 4 or 5 years old, and we've been best friends ever since. It's a friendship that's lasted at least 20 years plus. And when I started my YouTube channel, he actually would help me with a couple of videos, and there's actually some content that him and I recorded together that I never put on YouTube. And I've always joked about how we would upload it one day, but then, he decided to make his own, YouTube channel, and his channel has freaking skyrocketed since he started it. And there's parts of me that get super duper jealous, but it's so awesome to see what he does, and how his channel is different from mine. And it's awesome to be able to do this knowing that my best friend has my back and that he's here along the ride with me. And that's it's a big inspiration for both of us, because when I came back to do YouTube, he was just as excited to see me back as I was to see him doing well. And so him and I have been best friends forever. So that's where that our relationship comes into play. So my real name is in fact Chad. A lot of people think that it's like Charles or it's Chadwick or it's something of the like, but it's flat out Chad. And the name Chadarak comes from a nickname that was given to me in middle school. And it originally started off as Chadarak, like CHDILAC, because someone would nickname me after the car Cadillac. And I actually almost went with that name for the channel, but I don't know, there was something about Chadarak that I really, really liked, because there was also a point in time that I had an email address that was Chadarak, and it was long before, it was like when I said, it was like before the 360 days. That's when I had this email account. So it was really, really, I felt like that was the right thing to do, and that's what I went with. So that wasn't a question asked, but I feel like that was incorporated in the name Chad. Because like a lot of YouTubers, there are those YouTubers that don't use their real name. Like for example, with Jacksepticeye, everyone knows that his real name is Sean. So, but my real name is Chad. Favorite food, that's super difficult. These next two questions are really, really difficult because there is so much food in the world. Like I haven't even eaten everything, so it's like, how can I really justify what my favorite food is? I guess I could more so answer what my favorite food is right now. And I guess it sort of goes into also like my favorite like style restaurants too, because like I've been really, really addicted to burritos from like Chipotle and like Moe's. I eat those all the freaking time. Taco Bell and I might as well start up a bank account together because I go there way more than I should. And when I go there, I always get mini quesadillas. By the end of this video, you guys are gonna think that I have the diet of like of a 5-year-old. One of my favorite meals growing up that my mom would make is she would make something called hamburger helper, which is just like beef and macaroni and cheese put together. But I always loved that. My grandmother she always makes me this recipe called peas and dumplings, and as you can probably guess, it's literally peas and dumplings with some like chicken stock thrown in there, and sometimes she cuts like little pieces of ham in there, and oh, that's the bees freaking knees. I love that crap. So to single out one favorite food is really difficult for me. I mean, like everyone likes pizza and things like that. So, but I'm not really sure what my absolute favorite food would be. That's a difficult one. And speaking of difficult questions, what's your favorite game? This is literally impossible to answer because there are so many games out there that I've played that I thought about this for like 2 hours the other day, trying to figure out what my favorite game is, and I think it's impossible. I think what's more so accurate would be to really break down a favorite game into like tons of subcategories and say, what's your favorite like action game? What would be your favorite RPG? And then another thing that's difficult is the concept of time, because like I'll get like, for example, the original Super Mario Brothers, I can't tell you how many hours I've played that with Game Tim just on our own, and absolutely just loving it. And it's special and I love it for what it is, but how do you necessarily compare a game of that caliber to like a current generation game where it's like, one of my favorite games that I play is Destiny, and it's like I love both of those games, but in the concept of conversation, how do you talk about a game that premiered in the 70s and evolved early from that point on to a game like Destiny that came out in 2014 that it came out? Yeah, 2014 that came out. So, so it's like certain scenarios like that really come into play. If I were to name any game, and I do this solely based on the amount of time that I played it, because I even still play it to this day. There was a game that came out on GameCube that was a port from a Sega game called Phantasy Star Episode Online. Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. And I have played the absolute living crap out of that game. It's a simple grind game. You know, it's an RPG in the sense where, you know, the civilization goes to to try to find new life somewhere else to live, and they come across a planet called Ragul. And on this planet, one set of pioneers set down, and when the other pioneers come, we're in space, and they go to make communication with each other. There's a massive explosion on the planet Ragul. So the whole concept of the game is to go down, figure out what happened, and see what the deal is. And man, it's an awesome game. I absolutely love it. It has grind. It's very simple. It's very complex. It's you know, to look at it nowadays, it looks like a dumb game, but it's something magical. I've played it for as long as I can remember, since early, probably middle school. I've been playing it. I can tell you countless times, there would be times where Tim and I would be on our way to like a wedding that's 6 hours away, and we would actually set up a TV with our GameCube in the car and actually play it on the road, because that's how much of an awesome game it was. So I feel like if I'm gonna pin it to one thing, I would do that. I could literally take a vlog out of this conversation for what's your favorite game. So, but I'm gonna stick with Phantasy Star for that question. And actually, speaking of Tim, the very last question comes from him, and he wanted to know if I was still doing questions for the Q&A. In Game Tim fashion, he wants to know if I'm going to play Cooking Mama. And him and I actually recently hung out because his birthday wasn't that long ago, and we actually sat down and seriously talked about me doing Cooking Mama on the channel. And I actually don't have any qualms about not doing it. I have to find. He's been helping me try to figure out how I can get it set up on my computer and with the recording to work and whatnot, because, you know, he is the master of it. And we pretty much got it down pat. I sort of have to play around with a couple of things to make it work, but I have a couple of other cooking games that I had actually picked out to play on the channel a long time ago. So, so I'm not opposed to playing it, and I actually might do it because it would be a lot of fun. There was some fan art made of Game Tim and I by, you know, Dunno LOL. That was really great. And it's actually of Tim and I cooking in a kitchen. And that was all the inspiration I needed to be like, yes, I will do that thing. So I will play that at some point. It's always been a fun game to me. And, you know, what he's done with that game on his channel is astronomical to me. So, you know, it's really cool to see that happening. And I will play it at some point. And those are all the questions that I saw across the channel. I hope I didn't miss anything. We can, you know, I can go ahead and just double check to make sure that no one wrote anything on the channel board, because everything that I came across came out of the videos. Yeah, so that's all I see. Yeah, that's all I see on there. So if I did miss anything, or there was a question that people didn't get a chance to ask by the time I recorded this, like I said, down in the comments below, go ahead and write your question, or if there's something related to this that you wanted to talk about, absolutely put it on there. We'll all talk about it in the comments. So this will conclude my very first Q&A video, and it actually ended up going on a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but it was awesome. This was a great experience. It's one that I will never forget about. It'll be a milestone for me. This was super awesome. It reminds me of when a long time ago, I did a 25 facts about me vlog, which I'll put down in the description below so you can check that out. And this blew that out of the water. This was a great experience. As far as inspiration goes, this nails it. I absolutely loved doing what we did, and I can't wait to do another one. I love this kind of content. The games are great, but there's certain vlogs that I do that are just nice, because I really feel the connection between us, this camcorder lens, and then when you guys see the videos, I really, really enjoy it a lot. So I love doing this video. Like I said, one more time, if there weren't questions that were answered, or there were questions that you guys never got the chance to ask, go ahead and write them down in the comments. But I am going to wrap up this episode here. So I hope you guys enjoyed our very first ever Q&A session with Chadarak. I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to do it again. So if you guys want to check out the 25 facts about Chadarak, you can check down the description below. And if you want to see more fun games that we've played together, at the end of the video there'll be annotations that you can check out there. So if there's anything you guys want to suggest for us to do on the channel, whether it be something like this or a game, by all means, please let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Q&A with Chadarak. I hope everything was enjoyed, so I cannot wait to play games with you guys again. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye!